Let there be light, and there was light. So we want to continue the teachings of Mother Eve, of course, and why she's got eight in her mouth, or why she ate with her mouth. Yes, I think that is more appropriate. Why she ate with her mouth. Of course, so we have been looking at the mouth, and may I apologize as well. This presentation is a continuation of a presentation I was doing before, and then my computer came on and there was an interruption. So everything is for a reason. It's divinely orchestrated. That's my reason. Okay. All right. Okay, so basically, yes, let's welcome the gods, the 14 gods of Genesis. We are the genes, that's what we need to remember. So to disown or not acknowledge the gods is not acknowledging ourselves, because they are really the force or vibration that we are made of, or that we are containers of the DNA. So or blood cells, whatever it is that keeps us alive, or that keeps us going. So basically, it's important we, as I say, acknowledge their function or their purpose, their gifts, their talents, which really we are the expression of all of those things. So it's something I think it's a wonderful thing to acknowledge. And as I said before in one of my presentations, nothing can really work well for us unless we acknowledge it and we make a decision to be in alignment with it. So, in alignment with something is that we are at a position where we can be of better result or get a better result. And I gave the analogy of wanting to lose weight at one time, and I was almost surprised to see how much weight I had gained one time. And I, of course, stripped myself naked, looked in the mirror, and I thought, I love and approve of myself exactly as I am. And so basically, I really gave myself a dose of self love and really told myself that I know that it has the intelligence to work in alignment with my desires. And so I went out and I bought some wonderful clothes that fit to the size that I was then, not worrying whether I was going to not have use for those clothes in the near future, because I was very convinced that the weight would shift. But I was also convinced that it was important that I accept and love and approve of myself exactly as I am and give myself the best love possible. So I'm using this analogy as to reminding us that the 14 gods are part of our makeup in whatever way that we want to recognize them. But I also feel, like I have explained before, that I feel the external circles to our bodies are the logos of the gods, or the like one would say, we have birthmarks, and so they have left their birthmarks on us. So whichever, again, how we want to perceive it, but as long as we acknowledge that. Now there's the 9 gods that left their logos, their birthmarks on us. It's really like their stamp. It's okay to say, well, I have shaped the eyes, and that I am putting my stamp on these eyes, and so on. Okay, the other thing that we also noticed, that we got 5 gods in acknowledge 5 gods in Genesis of chapter 2, where God formed, planted, breathed, and blessed. I'm not sure for blessed now, but cause. So God formed, God caused, God breathed, and God planted. There is another one. It could be blessed. It could be. Oh, I could just have a look on here. Yes. So it's ended. God ended. Yes. So ended, formed, caused, breathed, planted. Okay. I know it's all here in here, but of course that's the idea of getting things out in the open. Okay. So we could have an external representation of them. So basically, we can see that the gods are, as I say with the five that I've just mentioned, they can be attributed to our five senses as well. So, or whatever five represents. So 5 plus 9 is 14. Now I've also spoken about 14 being on par with Jesus Christ, a representation of the story of Christ and the crucifixion. So this crucifixion, or the Last Supper, to be more precise, was of 13 at the table. But Christ, of course, dying and raising up again would mean coming into a new person, a new being. That would be seen as 14. This is where it is said, you have become new. You are a new creature. So this is really very much coinciding with the 14 gods of Genesis, that which we are. The whole story of Christ, of Jesus Christ, is really, I believe, the reformation of our journey, of our existence, or it's really the path. It's like an analogy or a story that tells us of the path that we are meant to travel in our journey. We need to die of the old self. We need to die of old beliefs, limiting beliefs, or whatever it is. Die of that, be that 13 that dies. And that's reminds me, because we're talking about the mouth as well, it reminds me of the word kiss that we saw happened with we saw. Of course, we've seen it because we have been told the story so many times. Now we have formed the picture. Of course, we have seen pictures of who Judas is meant to be. So we have seen Judas when he kissed Christ. Yes. And of course, so the story of Christ. And so we see the word kiss is actually KISS. This is 10, 12, 11, sorry, 10, 12, 13. It equals 13. And this is why I say that 13 is really the incubator, which of course the word incubator also equals 13. I am going through those videos that I have done before and just really trying to really make it as clear as possible. And because they are so recondite, so concentrated in the essence of what I'm wanting to convey, I feel that it is necessary to go over them. So of course 1 plus 3 is 4. Now what I notice with the number 4 is the only number that is missing from the letters of the gods. When I say the letters, I mean the value, like here for instance. So we have, hope you can see this. So we have this numerical value of the gods, and we have for the 9 gods, there we have 44, which is 8. Of course, we have seen what 8 represents, and I have also showed, well, 8, 4 plus 4 is 8. This is what we are talking, Mother Eve ate of the fruit. Eat is also 8. And tea as well, when we drink tea, is also 8. So that's why we can see that it is very much a part of all makeup in this sense. To say that Mother Eve drank of the fruit, you know, of course the fruit has a juice in it, so you could say it was also tea, a tea. Okay, but the tea, of course, with the spirit of sound mind, is also the cross. Now here we have got these numbers here as well. So what I noticed is that we have number 1, 2, 3, but 4 is missing, but we have 5, and then we have 6, 7, 8, 9. So all these numbers are missing here, but number 4 is a miss. However, we see that when we do the numerical value for the first 9 gods as well, in the word form, like 3 for instance, in the word form here, we see that when we've added these, we get a beautiful pattern. Whatever that pattern represents, let's use my feather. We have 4, 6, 7, 2. And here we have 4, 6, 7, 2. It's as if there were 2 palms of hands clapping together. So, or the mirror, or we are mirroring. But on the 9th, we've got 2 again, which indicates like a cycle, and in that cycle has its seed to create another cycle. And that's what I believe 2 is here, because we can see even with the formation of 3, what we get this 3 from is 11. So having seen all of these letters here as well, the words where we've got the 3 here is the only number, although we have 3 2s, but this one comes or forms from 29, from the numbers 29. 2 plus 9 is 11. So there in this 11, we are really firing on a 9-11. And that's what I say, that Mother Eve, or in creation, with the created God here, it was a 9-11. So 9-11, which was the first God, when we hear in the beginning God created. God created was the first letter. Created has a numerical value of 11. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 as a number or in word form gives us 13, the incubator. So 11 burst out and shoot out like a Black Friday the 13th, or whatever you want to put it as, and then we had this new creation of number 4. When we do the numerical value for 4, for instance, that gives us 24 is 24, I believe. 2 plus 4 is 6, and that's where Mother Eve is really making herself clear here. Or we could say, we can tell now Mother Eve is really at work in the 4 foundation, 4 pillars or 4 corners of the earth. And that was the news, we could say, with the north, south, east and west. So basically 4 here also coincides, because it has the same numerical value as 5 as well. It coincides with so 4 coincides with 5, which is news. This NAW has the 5 looking like an S, gives us the news. This is the news, was the number of man here. Man was created in this birthing, as I've just spoken. So this is very central. Of course, with an I, we can see that 6 is here, and here is really centered. This is what Mother Eve, the eating of the fruit, has been the message to let us know, get in to teach us about who we are. So here we see Mother Eve has eaten of the fruit. Of course, there is a bridge. So eating, of course, the food gets digested, or as well there is something that we process the thoughts or make meaning of, or or palate or make meaning of what we have taken in. This is where we are able to say it is sweet, it is bitter, it is lovely, or whatever meaning we make of it. And of course, our brain is very active, or is ignited on that information. And so this is how, of course, Mother Eve has taught us about enlightenment. This is what I believe the whole story is about. There is one part, of course, where we say that there is the falling, but that there is also the rise, just like Christ died and was put in the grave and rose again. This is the very same thing here. And there is so much correlation between the teachings of Christ and Mother Eve, but it is really, as I say, wanting to ensure that we've got the foundation of this story here. We can see that the sacrifice, of course, has 9 letters, and which coincides and corresponds with the 9 numbers, 1 to 9 in numerology, and it also corresponds, of course, every letter has a numerical value. Now, I think I have counted all these as well. When we do the whole numerical value, of course, as we can see here, we would have the overall number for 9. Okay, meaning that the message is that no matter what we do, this is a journey that we are to take, that we birth into newness, And this is, now I have been talking about 4 that has been missing. It's no wonder when before, I remember it was just before May, before Uranus entered the second house, which are of Taurus, which is Taurus. Here intuitively and according to the scriptures, that what I was reading and going on with, the news was here. We were in this news for quite a while, but we have been birthed out, as we have seen, and Mother Eve is really telling us, showing us, we are at this stage now. We are on this free vibration, which is, of course, has the numerical value of 4, 8, 12. Each of these has the numerical value of 12. And Mother Eve was showing, this is where the spell is cast. Now we are ready to say, let there be light, and there was light. Because each of these equal 12. Let there be light equals 12, just as it is here. So 3 4s are 12. And there was light, so that would be 24. So basically, Mother Eve is saying this is where we at, and we are now ready to make that news. The news we are talking about as well. So when we do the numerical value for 4, like I was saying, so FOUR is 6. And this is so important as well, because in 4, I think it is so crucial to pay note, is that Mother Eve is giving us the impression or the emphasis of what we are supposed to pay attention to is the hour. It's like saying the hour has come. Okay. Yes, so again, this is why I believe that the 369 or the 639 is something so crucial, that they are the vibrations that we are meant to work out. We are meant to work this out. Okay, so adding this together is 9 plus 9, 18, 19, 24. 2 plus 4 is 6. That's what we are talking about. We have the same thing. So Mother Eve is saying, and I'm getting it. So the word 4, as I say, has hour. And then we have 5. Isn't it amazing that these are the 2 words or numbers that are written with F, meaning there's the face, which looks like, of course, the cross, we could say. But also there is an ownership, that it's like there is a message in there. It's saying that we need to pay attention to this. And of course the Eve, we need to pay attention to the Eve, because this is really Eve, IVE. We need to pay attention to this. So doing the presentation or the calculation for this is, yes, let's add this together, is 9 and 9, 18, 24. 2 plus 4 is 6. Okay, so you get my drift. You get my gist. Yes, okay. So we have been talking about the 8 because that's what Mother Eve ate, of the fruit of good and evil. So there we are. This is really, we are getting to understand in our lives now, when we eat of the fruit, when we eat, meaning we look at a situation or whatever it is, that we push past that fear factor that tend to inhibit our progress. When we push past that, we have grown, we grow, we understand that then this thing is no longer of polarities, but it's of oneness. We have meshed, we have bridged the polarities with our action, and there we are really the playing the God force in that sense. We are gelling two things that may seem like complete opposites, but we are bridging those things. Okay, so this is really a wonderful message that Mother Eve is giving us. There's another thing that I really wanted to say about 8. There's, well, quite a lot that to say about 8. So Mother Eve ate of the fruit. So we saw that as well. The word 4 is what was missing from, as I've just pointed out, from the values of the gods. The numerical values of the gods, number 4 is missing. But of course, we have seen from the letters of the gods and all these 44s that we are adding up, 8 is really what seemed to be the number or thing that we should be paying attention to, because 8 is the 8th entry that Mother Eve said, let us create man in our image after our likeness. And more so, 8 is really the symbol of infinity. So there is something looking at us and we need to look at it. So when we look at this thing that's looking at us, we know we become one with it. And that's why we need to pay attention to 8, EIGHT, and do the numerical value for that, which is 5, 9, 7, 8, 2. So I'm taking it, if you're watching this, you know about the numerical values. As I have pointed, each letter has a numerical value, and this is how we work out the value of a word. Okay, so this is 10, this is 26, and this would be 31. So 3 plus 1 is 4. So we can see basically perhaps why we are meant to, or why 4 is absent, but it's also present. So basically when something is absent, we can't see where it is present elsewhere, because it is present elsewhere in our minds or in our makeup. For instance, in the class, when someone or the teacher calls out the student name, one says, okay, present, how many people are present and how many people are absent. But wherever the person is that absent, they are still present somewhere else. So this is the thing that we need to remember, that we have been looking at one aspect of something. So in this realm, or in this earth that we are, Mother Eve is wanting us to acknowledge or understand we are present everywhere. Basically, I can be speaking and being with you, I am present here, and yet I am also elsewhere on YouTube. I am present on other videos that I have made, just for instance. So I have done hundreds of videos, and I am present in all of those videos. So this is what Mother Eve is really trying to show us. Now, you could be watching this and you're wondering, am I doing, if you're watching this at this very moment as I am recording it, present, or maybe you watch it tomorrow, still present. So this is the point Mother Eve is really making here. So we can see, to make it this more concise, we can see that 8 gives us 31, which is in direct correlation with 13, as we had. Let's see, is it on here? Yeah, on kiss, for instance. So we can see perhaps that was the message, although there was another 13. Well, this one will do. I'm thinking it was another 13 I had. But we can see the significance of the kiss. So basically the story of Judas being said that Judas betrayed Christ. This has a different meaning to it. This is the meaning. Judas had played perhaps the most significant role, and perhaps the hardest role in that story to really, and it is said, of course, he hanged himself. That's another thing for us to look at. But it's like saying he turned himself upside down, or he killed himself, whichever way we looked at it. But he too was in on same par, we could say, as Christ, in this sense. He was doing, like, it can be perceived as a self-sacrificial lamb, or he slaughtered himself as well, we could say. Perhaps we could use another word, but okay, yeah. But we can see the 13 here. So the kiss was really the incubator right here. The kiss was that vibration that was necessary to set the foundation of the news. So there we are. Of course, the kiss was really that which would form the north, south, east, and west. So this is news, and this is S, air, and the W. And that, of course, was necessary to put Christ, or Jesus, in that spectrum. This is why it is said, when you are in Christ, you are a new creature. Yeah, so that was the news here. When you are in Christ, you are a new creature. This is the north, the south, the east, and the west. And of course, this is where we come to realize you are the 6. You are the genes that can rise. And in that rise, of course, because the dying, or the word die, let's just put it this way, the crucifixion is, the sacrifice is 10, which is here, because it's 46, 4 plus 6 is 10. We could see that this is where Jesus came to putting the two polarities together, bridging the gap, so to speak. with no male, no female, but having to be scoring that 10 here. And of course, after that demarcation, there is another rise because 1 becomes 10. Adding this together is 1. And when you do the numerical value for 1, you have 6, 5, 5. Adding this together is 16. 1 plus 6 is 7. So we can see that this is like a new creation. This is the new creation. This is where the creation of 6 days of creation and the 7th day of rest. This is where one stands and say, okay, I have run the whole mile. Now I can stand and feel proud of myself and see what I have created, what I have done, what I have made. Because 7, this is where 7 has every right to be arrogant or have or to be proud or to be upright. 7 has gone through that gypsy journey. It's as on the template here. It's the gypsy journey right here. And of course it has that free vibration to spur it on in that free, just as we have free in the developmental stage. So basically 7, we can see has got, as I say, that proudness. Now when we also do the numerical value for the word 7, SEVEN, and this is all to show as well the correlation with Christ's teaching or experience or analogies or Christ's life. Let's put it this way: life and death or resurrection. We can see it's all about Mother Eve. This is where we still have Eve in the middle. This is so important that we understand that Eve is in the middle. Now we have seen as well the word sacrifice equals 46. When we add the word the numbers together, gives us 10. 10 is really again coinciding with the first word Mother Eve utters when she says let, which is 3, 5, 2. Adding this together gives us 10. So we can see here, adding this together gives us 10. That is really important. So it's really important. And Mother Eve also, let's look at this. When Mother Eve says, let there be light, so we have seen how 10 comes here with the let, but 2, 5, 5, as in 10, gives us 12. 1 plus 2 is 3. So we can see here, this is 3 that we are talking about. And if we did the numerical value for the word 3, it also takes us back to showing us about 7, because 7 is, let's do this, 1, 5, 4, 5, 5. Adding this together is 20. So 20 here takes us 20. But I also wanted to show about 3, THREE, because we talked about 10 and 10 equals 3. So it's 5, 5, 9, 8, 2. Adding this together is 29. So we can see where we got that 29 as well. 2 plus 9 is 11. That is really telling us that the main fact that this was, oh, so many boards. Yeah, let's just do it. The fact that 3 here in this 2 is showing in this way as 11, and 11 corresponding with the created God, that is showing the magic of 3. That is showing 3 is not only 3, but it's not only 2, but it's also three. It's also that which creates. It's showing us the why it is the cycle, why Noah was asked to take the animals in by free. It was also showing us, as I have showed the sevens as well, and so on. And basically we could see that 2 is very powerful in this sense. But there is one more thing just to show as well, how, because we are talking about 8 and Mother Eve ate, and we see that Mother Eve was the serpent in the garden. The word serpent also equals 7. I am just trying to encapsulate or really give SERPENT, which has 7 letters, but it also equals 34. I believe I remember this correctly. It's 1597552. Okay, this is 10, this is 12, this is 19, 28, 29, 33, 34. So 34 is 7. So we can see here that the serpent, and as Mother Eve in the garden, is really 7. 7, and as I have showed, with 7 in the middle of 7 is Mother Eve. But not only that 7 is Mother Eve, but the 7 brings things to an even position, an even way. It evens things out. And that's the serpent. That's the serpent that when Moses struck onto the ground, it became, the rod became even. So we need to have the serpent. We need to have the serpent to get even. Okay. That's what the serpent is. That's what Satan is. And Satan is also 10. Now, there was something else I wanted to do. So the word 12, yeah, because we had 12, TWELVE. So it's 2, 5, 5, 3, 4, 5. And 5, 10, 15. This would be 22, 24. So 2 plus 4 is 6. So we can see here, this also takes us back into the 6, which is where Mother Eve is saying, and the 6 is also the said God Mother Eve. So I'm showing how Mother Eve is very central here, and as a 7, she's on the gypsy journey that takes us there. But this is the gypsy journey, and I'm looking as well, if we were to add these 2 figures together, where we have been looking at 6 and 5, we could say 6 and 5 is 11. That also coincides with the 3 that we've been talking about at the base of the numerical values of the gods, the gods' values. So 5 and 6, or we could also see that the news is here. And basically, for 7, the gypsy journey, we also see that the eye is there. It's like also telling us, we have these 2 eyes, telling us about, it's like telling us a message about asking, what if here and if here. Basically, in whatever way we want to look at this. Okay, but the message here so far is to recognize Mother Eve in all the scriptural messages that we have been given, more so in the scripture of Jesus Christ, in all the stories, so we can see the correlation. And that's why Mother Eve is calling us back to really understand that the 8 here is infinite. It is the circle. It is a cycle. It's like Mother Eve had eaten the world, because it's really a cycle like this. And when you've eaten the world, of course, you have to digest the world, and so you become enlightened. Okay, so there is so much more on this. Do join me again. And I want to also look at the functions of the mouth a little bit more. There's quite a lot. Okay, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Please leave your comments, your like and share. And of course, if you have any points, whether you agree or disagree, or you find or you see something else, feel free to leave your comments. I would just love to hear what your thoughts are on these. Thank you.